Welcome to tonight's story. This is the tale of Hollow Creek, a ghost town abandoned to silence, except for the whispers. Listen closely, but whatever you do, don't trust what you hear. They say every town has its secrets. Hollow Creek is no exception. Abandoned in 1972, its history is shrouded in fear and mystery, especially around the old well in the center of town. Some call them the Whispering Ones. Some say they echo your deepest fears. Others believe they offer you the things you want most. But the one thing everyone agrees on? No one who hears them is ever the same again. The town had once been bustling. It was a close-knit mining community nestled at the edge of a dense forest. The air was crisp with the scent of pine, and life thrived beside the well, until the disappearances started. At first, it was just a child here and there, slipping into the forest and never returning. Then, a neighbor. Then, a family. No trace, no warning, only whispers. The only thing left behind, an eerie silence and a growing fear that something dark had claimed Hollow Creek. Hollow Creek. When Clara Winters, an urban legend blogger, first heard about Hollow Creek, she thought it was just another abandoned town with a spooky backstory. She'd been to dozens of places like it, but something about the legend of the Whispering Ones haunted her. Something deep inside told her this was different. So, Clara packed her bags, her camera ready, and drove straight into the heart of the unknown. Arriving on a gray afternoon, Clara's senses immediately picked up on something strange. The town streets were eerily quiet. There were no birds chirping, no distant hum of life. The houses were dilapidated, windows boarded, doors hanging off their hinges. The feeling of isolation was suffocating, yet it was the town's welcome sign that caught her eye. Someone had spray painted on it, "Stay out." Clara's heart skipped a beat. It was a warning, but one she was already too deep into the story to turn back from. Her footsteps echoed through the empty streets as she wandered. The silence was unsettling, broken only by the soft rustle of wind, which seemed to whisper, like the town itself was trying to speak. As Clara moved closer to the town square, she saw it, the well. Old stone, cracked and weathered by time, yet it stood as if waiting, watching. And that's when it happened. A voice. So faint at first, she thought it was just the wind. But then it spoke her name. "Clara." The whisper came again, clearer this time. Her pulse quickened. She scanned the area. Empty. She tried to shrug it off as nerves, but something inside her knew. This was no ordinary town. No ordinary ghost story. She bent down to examine a journal that had been left near the well. The pages were yellowed with age, the ink smudged from years of exposure to the elements. It belonged to Rachel Cole, a teenager who had vanished right before the town was abandoned. Her last entries were chilling. No note. Oh well, another footnote. Rachel, they whispered to me. They're always with me now. They promise me things. Things I didn't know I wanted, but they're lying. They tell me what I fear. They twist my thoughts. I can't think straight. I don't know if I'm still me. The well is where it all started. Don't listen, don't trust them. I'm already lost. Clara's throat tightened. She'd heard the whispers too. They weren't just voices in her head. They were like a presence, a force that was alive, feeding on her. Desperately, she tried to ignore it, to focus on the task at hand. She snapped a photo of the journal, but the whispers didn't stop. They followed her everywhere, growing louder, more distinct, more personal. In the nights that followed, they came to her in dreams. Clara dreamt of her sister, a painful memory she could never escape. Her sister's voice called to her from the darkness, begging for help. But when Clara reached out, the voice twisted into something darker, something more sinister. "Clara, why did you leave me?" It laughed, cruel and mocking. The whispers knew. They knew her secrets, her guilt. They spoke of her sister's death, the one thing Clara could never escape, no matter how hard she tried. The guilt ate at her, and the whispers only made it worse. They echoed every painful memory, every doubt, every regret. It was as though they were getting inside her mind, unraveling her from within. Determined to get to the bottom of this, Clara dug deeper into the town's history. She discovered that in the 1800s, a woman named Margaret Hallow had been accused of witchcraft by the townsfolk. She was dragged to the well and drowned, her screams silenced by the water. But before she died, she cursed them. She cursed the town and anyone who dared to live there. Her spirit became the Weaver, a malevolent entity that spun lies through whispers, trapping those who listened in a twisted web of fear and desire. As Clara uncovered more, she learned that the well was the source of the curse. The whispers didn't just haunt the town, they fed on the minds of its inhabitants. Those who listened long enough fell prey to the Weaver's lies, their desires twisted into something dark. Something that drove them to madness. Clara was trapped. The whispers were everywhere, in every corner of her mind. They promised her the one thing she wanted most, to bring her sister back. They whispered that it was possible. All she had to do was drink from the well. It seemed so simple, so easy. But Clara knew better. She couldn't trust them. She couldn't fall for their lies. Determined to end the curse once and for all, Clara made a plan. She returned to the well with gasoline in hand. The whispers followed her, growing louder, angrier. They screamed at her, begged her to stop. They mocked her, her sister's voice ringing in her ears. "Clara, don't leave me." For a moment she faltered. The whispers were so convincing, so real. But then she remembered Rachel's journal. Don't trust them. She struck the match, lighting the gasoline with a quick, defiant motion. The flames erupted, consuming the well. The voices screamed in pain as the cursed water burned. For the first time since she arrived, there was silence. Clara ran, her heart pounding, her body trembling from the terror of what she had just done. She had ended it. She had broken the curse. But when Clara returned home, the whispers followed her. At night, when the world was still, she heard them again. Soft, haunting, laughing. And this time, the whispers weren't just in her head. They were in the room with her, filling the air, seeping into her every thought. The Weaver wasn't done. Clara had only thought she had escaped. She wasn't safe. No one ever truly escapes the whispers.